thank you all for joining me once again. I am so happy to have you all again. It's been several weeks since we were on here last, and the last time, two of the people on here were not with us. And so we are glad. I'll introduce you all in a second, but we're glad to have all of our new people on here with us tonight. So we have people coming in. They're coming in kind of fast. Yay, it's gonna be a good night. Last time things moved a little in a different direction and things got kind of heavy the last time, but it was a great conversation. So we're going to keep it a little light tonight. So for those who did not get to see us last month on part 1 of The Mind of a Woman, be sure to go back and check that out after tonight, because you don't want to miss it. It was some great conversation, lots of encouragement, lots of healing going on. And so, all right, so we'll go ahead and get started. Let me make sure I have my water. My throat gets dry, but we're going to go ahead and get started. And so I want to introduce these beautiful ladies. I'll introduce them by name and then just let them tell you a little bit about themselves before we get going. So I'm going to go according to the order I see on my screen. So Anya, you're going to go first. Tell them who you are.
I'm Anya Ruffin. What else am I supposed to say? I'm from Charlotte. Mom of 2, married to my high school sweetheart, mom of a 6-year-old girl and a 2-year-old very rambunctious toddler. Whew. Oh boy.
Yeah. Those terrible twos are real. I'm seeing that with my nephew.
Ooh.
Yes. Dolores.
Hello, my name is Dolores Johnson. I'm located in Fort Wayne, Indiana. I've been married for 26 years. I have 3 children, 1 deceased. I have 4 grandchildren, 1 deceased. And I'm very excited about being on today.
Thank you. Then we have Andrea.
Hi, I'm Andrea Surf, and I live in Muncie, Indiana. I'm from Muncie as well. I am a newlywed still. I've been married for almost 10 months.
Congratulations.
I am a grandmother, friend, daughter, sister, all of that. And I'm happy to be here as well.
Oh, thank you. Then we have Malika. I have to tell y'all Malika's story on who she is and how she got on here tonight after everybody finished.
So I am Malika. I live in Clearwater, Florida. I'm originally from Anderson, Indiana, where I went to Ball State University. I am a wife and a mother of 3 boys, a soon-to-be 12-year-old and a 1 and a 2-year-old. So I understand this toddler phase. It's real. Yes. Is real.
Angela.
I am Angela Cooper. I am originally from Fort Wayne, Indiana, currently located in Atlanta metropolitan area. If I told you the city, you would know it. So we'll just say Atlanta and keep moving. I am the mother to 3, what I like to call little angels. That's what we're going to call them today. We have 2 boys, is 15 and 12. I'm feeling myself almost 13. And one little rules the roost at coming in at a hefty 2, almost 3. So I am living that. I'm too old to be doing this.
Jesus.
That helps.
Okay, and Monique.
I'm Monique, and I was born and raised in Muncie, Indiana, but I'm currently in Houston, Texas. I am a wife. I am a friend, a sister. So excited to be here. I want to encourage everybody to go vote November. We cannot afford not to execute our obligation as citizens. That's something that I'm very passionate about and am working on currently.
Thank you. And thank you for saying that, because that's very important. If you've never voted a day in your life, this is not the year to miss. So make sure you get out there and cast your vote and exercise your right. So I am Dewan Jordan, and I am a life and business coach. I am also the director of business support for a local nonprofit here called Launch, where we help small businesses and business startups. And we primarily focus on women and minorities and individuals from underserved communities. And so I am glad once again to have all of you on here tonight. We are missing one. She started off with us and then she had to jump off. She has a busy life. That's our friend and sister, Tiffany Washington. And she will be possibly jumping back on later on. Wallace, sorry, mate. Thank you, Anya. She gets me together. And when I said it, I was like, that don't sound right. So Tiffany Wallace, and she'll likely be jumping back on here possibly tonight, but something else came up. And so thank you all for having us. These, for the most part, are my line sisters for Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. And then we have our honorary sister for the night, Malika McCluster. She is actually a AKA Alpha Kappa Alpha, but we're gonna let her on here tonight because it's all about sisterhood. And so we all in this thing together, even if you wear different colors. You know what I'm saying?
We'll talk later, Dawn. We'll talk later.
So anyway, at the end of the day, we all strong Black women. So hey, it's all good. And so thank you all for joining us. I invited Malika on here tonight because this is a conversation that she and I have quite often. Malika is actually my oldest brother, TJ's really good friend, and I stole him from her several years ago. And so now I don't know who she claims to love more. So so tonight is me, I guess.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
So I just thought that this would be a great opportunity. Thank you all who are in the chat already. Good evening, Jamila. I see Angela Jordan. That's the only names I see. I saw all the other people who were coming in, but then when I lost my screen, I came back, the chat started over. So thank you all just for joining us tonight. This is going to be a great conversation, one that is extremely, extremely important. We are going to be talking about lots of things: womanhood, sisterhood. That's a big one that I want to touch on tonight. And family, and wherever else the conversation leads us, we're going to be talking about that tonight. And so I just think that in these times of trying to navigate just life, I've never felt that it's more important than ever than to have sisters, to have friends, to have people that you can lean on, to have people that can encourage you and pray for you and all of those different things during these times in life, you know, when things get hard. And even though a lot of us are quarantining with our spouses, our children, our families, sometimes you just need that extra outlet. Sometimes you need that person outside of the home to vent to laugh with, to encourage you, to just lighten the load. And so that's what we're going to talk about tonight. So I'm going to kick it off by saying or asking the question. So lately, all you seem to hear is sis. Sis. Every time you turn around, everybody talking about sis. That's the trending word right now. I want to get your thoughts on how do you feel about the word sis and how it's being used. I was going to say overly used, but you may not feel like it's been overly used. So what are y'all thoughts? And anybody can jump in on this word sis. And y'all jump in the chat too.
Well, I don't know that I necessarily use that word loosely. If I say, hey, sis, it's because you're really like a sister to me. You know, we as African-American women, we refer to each other as a lot of different names, but that's just not one that I personally use. I just, you know, if I'm saying it, it's because we have a close relationship. That's just me.
Anybody else?
I'd say it's one that, you know, that I use. But you know, it's funny, like I don't use that word with my close friends, right? So it's really almost like backward. You know, I use it in certain circles, and different groups that I'm a part of, or people that I'm friends but my very close friends, I don't use the term sis. You know, we pretty much just refer to each other by name. You know, I don't know that people do it as much now, but you know, back when I was in my 20s, a lot of people refer to their friends as the B word.
Mhm.
And that's
Oh,
one.
they still do.
Yeah, I was gonna say they still do.
And that's one I'm like,
Yeah, I can't get with that.
I could never do or could never get with. But I'm okay with the term sis. And, you know, it's almost like a term of endearment. And we're talking, it's like, you good, sis, you good, you know. So I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
Anybody else?
I've seen it, not just sis, but down here we had a lot of suh, S-U-A. Suh. Let me tell you, suh. People like, wait a minute. So it's like, I'm not exactly sure what the deviation is between sis and suh, but you know, it seems like suh is maybe like a little closer than a sis. Yeah, that's interesting to me. I mean, I feel like people come up every few weeks. It's a new word for something different. This, I mean, for a while it was pudding, pud.
That's true.
Yeah, like we just keep reinventing words to call one another. I think for me, usually when I say it, it's because it's something tantalizing behind it. Like I don't really use it in regular conversation, but if I have an announcement to make, then I'll be like, sis, let me tell you. Let me tell you. So, when it comes into play for me, I don't really toss it around other than that. I'm not really out here just calling people sis all the time because they're just not realistic. But
Right.
if I got an announcement though, I may start it that way. It's announcement worthy.
I announce everything.
It is announcement worthy.
My announcement is girl. I had that girl real bad. So if I start off a girl, you better know I got something to tell
Right.
you, child. And if I say honey child, it's about to get good.
Yeah, child. That's me.
So as far as the sis word, first of all, I'm the only girl. I have two brothers, older and a younger. And so I didn't want anything more my entire life but to have a sister. So I'm not just going to be going around throwing the word sister just to anybody for the simple fact, like I always valued that. I wanted a sister so bad. But I have found myself saying it more in response to being called sis or just kind of catching on to the trend. And it used to be a time when I would say it, I would kind of like cringe a little bit, but now it's almost coming naturally. But I don't just throw it out to anybody, but like I find myself saying it more in writing than I do in actually talking, you know, on a text or on Facebook. And so anyway, I just thought that was funny because I've been hearing it so much. And the other thing I like about the word sis though, is to me, I almost feel like it brings like a closeness, not necessarily a real friendship, but it's something to me that almost ties and joins those two people talking in that moment together. When you say sis, it's almost like we have something in common and almost like that term and endearment. And so I kind of like that. What do you all think? I see Catherine said, yes, you do, Dewan. Yeah, I call her all the time. I'm like, girl. I get that from my mama. She call everybody girl. Men, babies. She call everybody girl.
I would say, Dewan, that also when you speak to someone, what you call them sets the tone for the conversation. So if I call you brother or if I call you sister, then even if we don't have that type of relationship, it creates a kinship that will shift the atmosphere as we move forward. So I think that although I don't go around tossing sis around like you, just because it's very intimate for me, I do know that I will toss around a brother before I say a sister. So, and oftentimes when I say bruh or brother, it's out of respect for maybe someone that may be an elder or higher ranking in relationship with me. Also because I grew up in the church. And you know how church is, you know, it's brother, sister, whatever, all the time. But I don't so much say sis, but if I do use it with someone that's not akin, it's to set the tone in the room.
So let's ask you.
I was just saying, they done totally took bruh a whole nother way now. Get you a teenager in your life, and bruh ain't the same that it used to be. Now it's it's not a term of endearment anymore. Like I almost feel like I should do harm to my children. If you say bruh to me after a word, we finna. It's a fight.
So it's like bruh.
Yeah, it's like bruh. Wait a minute. Excuse me. Wait. Hold on. I'm not bruh. So I don't think life really prepares you for the moment that your children begin to use those kind of terms. So it's even that word has transformed into something that is not what it used to be.
I'm going to agree with you, Angela. My preteen a few weeks ago, we were talking about something and he's like, bro, I'm telling you. I was like, wait a minute. What we doing? What we talking about? Who am I? Bro, what? You're right. It threw me for a loop. I'm like, okay, this is where we are. Okay. So yeah, it's a whole different thing.
That's sad.
And I agree with Dewan.
That just really made me sad.
I agree with Dewan as far as sis. I don't say it, but there's like one or two people that, you know, we say it in text or emails. But yeah, that's just not a word that I really say. I'll just call their name. But I mean, I don't have a problem with sis. And the person that we do call each other sis, we are really close. And when she first called me that, I was like, oh. So I'm really, really close, but typically I don't use that term.
Right.
If I'm talking to my real sister and I want something from her, like, sis.
So I'm going to go to the chat now. We have TJ, he's in there. He said, no, he didn't say I'm watching you. That's what Facebook said. He said, hello, ladies. Jermichael said, I will bruh you to death. And yes, he will. Hey, Q, she just joined us. Miss Gail. Jermichael said, bro shows kinship. Bruh is a space filler. So, that's a good point, because it is the difference. That's a good point.
Okay.
So let me ask you this. So we talked about sis, we talked about bruh, but we're not here to focus on bruh. We're talking about the sis and the sisterhood. So how do you view friendships? How loosely do you use the word friends?
I don't use that. Go ahead, Monique. Was that Monique about to talk?
Yeah, I was just gonna say I don't throw friend around either. Especially as an adult. You know, as I've matured, I've learned just how friendship is. Now, there are associates and we can be friendly, but my friends ride with me. You know?
Yeah, I agree 100%. I call my friends my inner circle. It's just a handful and it's just my inner circle. Everybody who you may kiki and have a good time with is not your friend. And I have learned that over the years. Friendship is something that I treasure so very much. And so if I'm calling you a friend, that's like me calling you sis, because my friends are more like my family. So it's just all one pot. Now I have a bunch of colleagues and I have a bunch of associates.
I think
the work that I do in the community and things of that sort. But friends, no.
Now let me ask you all this then. So in this situation that you're talking to someone and you're referring to somebody, you're just talking about somebody, and you don't really have a friendship, they're more of an associate. How do you describe them just in conversation? Because I find myself, okay, so for me, example, I do not use the word friend loosely. However, I do use it more loosely than I used to. And it's not because I feel like they're my friend or saying the word friend, but to me, it just makes it easier than trying to describe who they really are. Or, or downgrading, I guess, the part they're playing in my life, even if they aren't a friend. And it depends on who I'm talking to and what I'm talking about. So if I'm talking to my mom about maybe somebody I know, we're not actual friends. I'm like, just to keep from trying to explain the history and all that, so I just say my friend. But I know the relationship is not someone I would truly look to as a friend. They're more of an associate. So how do you? Go ahead, Angela. I think Malika froze.
Oh, I use the term homegirl. Like, to me, it's a differentiation between you my homegirl and you my friend. Homegirl means we have a kinship of some type.
Right.
You know, you know, we got something kind of going on, but yeah, you're not the person I'm calling on the side of the road if my tire blow out. So that's how I differentiate, especially in storytelling. I'm like, yeah, so my homegirl. So I feel like people who know me know to have less expectation from a homegirl than if I friend did this, that, and the third. I also try to keep people in their buckets. You know what I'm saying? Like some people need bucket descriptions. You know, you belong in this season, or you're my coworker, or you're my friend from work.
Right.
Let's be very clear. Friends from work. So I try to keep those buckets, but yeah, in general conversation, you just become a homegirl. I'm not even gonna go through the whole term of you just a homegirl. You're a homegirl.
Question: How does the homegirl become a friend, or is it never? Is it like you my homegirl always, and how do they get elevated to friend status?
Sometimes they don't. Sometimes they don't. Sometimes your homegirl is just your homegirl.
Yeah,
and that's what it is.
Yeah, I think some people have buckets. I think one of the hardest lessons I've had to learn as an adult woman is that everybody's not going to be your friend. One thing that I have done erroneously in my life is try to tack this friendship on everybody, because when I am your friend, I am like, I ride hard for you. I'm that friend that if you call me at 3:00 in the morning, stuck on the side of 285, I'm waking all my children up and we are out the house coming to get you. I had to, everybody not going to ride for you the same way that you ride for them. So because of that, like the way you get elevated is when you match that energy. You know what I'm saying? I know they sound so cliche and that's so 2020, but I am so matching energies right now. Like, listen.
Oh yeah.
I've poured into people and not got anything back. So I'm learning the rule of reciprocity. Yes, listen, match that energy. When I see you willing to really ride for me, then I'll ride for you and we can take those baby steps up. But until then, you stay at baseline and I'm gonna stay over.
Oh yeah. I definitely, I live by the law of reciprocity at this point in my life. That's important. I'm going to the chat real quick. Stephanie said, everyone is not your friend. And then Catherine said, I have my core friends, my inner circle of friends, and then outer circle of friends. There's a big difference. I definitely agree with that. One thing that I hear a whole lot, especially in the social media world, is something that's been said a lot is you either in my circle or you're in my corner. And have you all heard people say that? I've been hearing that a lot. They say you're either in my circle or you're in my corner. If you've heard that, how do you differentiate the difference? To me,
well,
go ahead.
I haven't heard circle and corner before, but Angela was talking about energy and reciprocity, and not everybody can give you what you need all the time, right? Because everybody's going through something. So it's kind of like a rotation, you know, or even in my marriage, you know, there are times when I'm stronger than my husband and my husband is stronger than me. So maybe I hadn't heard circle and corner before, but I would say that, you know, there are people that will ride for you, but everybody can't be with you all the time. So that's how I would differentiate circle and corner. I'd also like to share that, you know, all of us on this call have the privilege of sisterhood in Greekdom, right? And that's a very special thing. And it's a privilege that not everybody has been afforded to. Like, I know that I have 8 Sands who may not be with me every second, but I know that I can call on in a second if I need them. And so I don't take that lightly. And I know that none of you do as well. But I would say that that's like the circle in the corner. You know, I'm done.
One thing I want to say, I want to address, you brought up that law of reciprocity. I definitely agree with you, because you're going to have that 80-20 rule a lot of times. Just like you said, when you're strong and I might be weak, then I need you to step up for me, and then vice versa. And I feel like the law of reciprocity is not when you're balancing out and reciprocating at the same time all of the time. However, if you're always draining me and every time you call me, I get to the point where I look at the phone, it's like, I gotta get my energy up just to have
Right.
this conversation, or every time I get off the phone, I feel so drained. And I have friendships like that, or had friendships like that. And I just had to be like, look, I can't do that today. I can't do that today. And so I do feel like reciprocity definitely means that at some point, I gotta be able to pull from you. You have to be able to pour into me at some point. You can't always take, and drain me, because then I have nothing to give anybody else. I have nothing left after we finish our conversation every time. The other thing is, when talk about the circle in the corner, to me, the circle is a group of people or friends per se. I would just say more so a group of associates, people that you hang out with, that you spend time with. Doesn't necessarily have to be your friends. And then the corner are those people who, if you need something, you can call them, that you can call them just to talk, and you don't have to worry about hearing what you discuss come back around again. That if I need something, I can come to you, and you don't ever have to beat me down because I made a mistake. You don't sit and add more stress to an already stressful situation. That when I come to you, you're in my corner. And sometimes it's a time that you just need to listen, and then there's a time that you need to speak. And you should be able to know the difference if you're my friend and if you're in my corner. So just wanted to touch on that. Another thing,
you used to hear people say, we run in the same circle.
Mm-hmm.
We run in the same circle, But yeah.
One thing my mom said in the chat, she said, I just saw it. You don't know who your true friend is until you are truly going through. You find out who they are for real. And that is absolutely
That's fact.
That's absolutely true. Anybody want to touch on that a little more?
So let me tell you a story. Can I tell you a story of friendship? Other than this group, I mean, we could all tell so many stories, but I'll go back. You guys know when I was about to leave Fort Wayne, I was quite sick, and I was dealing with some illness right before I was going to leave Fort Wayne. And I was buying a house in South Carolina. This is a friend, somebody that I trusted, that I had to make power of attorney, had to make her my power of attorney so that she could go to the closing for me, because I was in Fort Wayne in the hospital and I needed to close on a house in South Carolina. And then, that same group of friends was like, Anya is in the hospital. She's not going to be able to come and unpack her house. So they took off their jobs, drove to South Carolina, met, my friend at my house, stayed in my house now before I ever stayed in it, put my whole house together so that when I got there, I just had to walk in. Everything was unpacked and everything in my house. That's a friend.
That's beautiful.
That's beautiful. And unfortunately, so many people never have that experience. So many women never have that experience. And so let's talk about that. Let's go there. One thing my mom used to always tell me, and it used to make me so mad when I was younger, because when you're younger, you feel like that's old people talk. But she never allowed me to just hang out at people's houses all the time. And she will always say, seldom visits make lasting friends. And I never saw my mom hanging out in just her friends' homes. Like, she went and visited, they came and visited our home, but it was never like my mom's friends just always at the house. She's always somewhere, and she didn't allow us to do it. And even if I went to go spend a night at a friend's house, if I was there 1 or 2 days, she might say, can she stay again? No, it's time for her to come home. And the time she didn't say it's time for me to come home, we end up arguing and fighting by the time I did go home. And so I truly believe that. And I believe that it doesn't mean that you can't be friends, but I don't feel like you have to always be up under someone. And it drives me nuts. I cannot have friends like that. I am not the kind of friend that you're going to talk to every single day on the phone. My life not set up like that. So, and a lot of times when you literally sit on the phone all day and you don't, unless you got a lot in common, you end up talking about people and gossiping and talking about something that has nothing to do with anything. And so I don't have time for that in my life. So I only have time for people when we're feeding into each other, we're laughing, it's positive things, and we're not talking about people and things. We're talking about life. We're talking about things that's going to advance us. We're talking about things that's going to build us up spiritually, mentally, emotionally. I just got quiet. Anybody want to say?
No, I mean, I definitely, I agree definitely with the idea that it does sometimes take like a trauma or, you know, something that you go through to really, for you to really see like who's there for you. You know what I'm saying? And also understanding and recognizing that sometimes that those people who even stand up during those periods are maybe just for that season. And I think that's an even harder one to discern, is that just because you roll with me through this rough period doesn't really mean that I'm supposed to keep you after this rough.
Good.
There's seasonality to a lot of these friendships, and that's hard to see.
It's very hard though, because I'm the kind of person that have a hard time letting go, right?
Yes.
And
I do.
I want to
I'm
hold
honestly,
on.
Grieve those relationships. You do. You grieve them. I mean, I have a friend, you know, just really when Tyson was sick, I have a friend. When I tell you that was like beyond home girl, we was thick as thieves. You know, she was there every step of the way. You know, every step of the way, she was, you know, out advocating for him, out organizing, getting meal trains to my house when my son was sick. She was at the hospital. She was running my parents to and from the hospital. I mean, this is somebody who I really considered a friend. But when it came time after that, I really began to see cracks in that character flaw. And I had to be able to say, you know what? I kept going back to but she was there for me. She was there for me. But I'm like, at the same time, she's not really there for me now. So I had to let that friendship expire. I had to let that tree die. I had to cut it down, bury it, burn the wood and the whole thing, because that friendship was very seasonal. I appreciate her. And it doesn't take away from the fact that I appreciate her and the position she played in my life and my time of need. I love her to pieces for that. And for that, she will always have a special place in my heart. But moving forward after that, we weren't able to maintain a true friendship. So, I mean, I get it. I get definitely, you see who your real friends are. And even sometimes you find, what I found though, and sometimes in times of trauma, that people close to you don't really know how to respond because they're close to you. You know, they can kind of back off and back away and be like, listen, what you're going through hits so close. It hurts so bad. I hurt for you that I don't want to be around, because I don't want to, you know, make you feel any worse than what you're already going through. So, I mean, I guess it can kind of go both ways. You can get people who step up, and you can get those that fall back because they are grieving for you in their own way.
Yeah.
But I mean, I believe that that's part of communication.
I want to agree with something that you said too, Angela, okay. Saying about the young lady, she was there for you during that time with your son, but then past that, I think it's important that we realize when friendships or relationships are seasonal, maybe what the point is. Maybe that friend was there for you because she enjoys feeling needed. And then maybe when there wasn't a big need anymore, you know, there quite a few people, like in my transition from Indiana to here, my last recent transitions with my boys. I had those 2 boys back to backs. I had 2 C-sections, a lot going on. There were some people who were there. They enjoyed being needed. They was around. Now that I'm really here and the boys are growing up and they're not, you know, they're not around. So, you know, I think that sometimes too, it's important for us to see the character or the personality trait of the person. And that may make us, you know, decide some things, you know, differently within that friendship, depending on what happened in that particular circumstance.
It's something you said, Malika, when you were talking about a person being needed. And I've come into several relationships, and I'm talking about with women, where I have found that it was a person and they love the fact of being needed. And what it almost turned out to seem like in some of those situations, it was almost like they were trying to buy my friendship. They were trying to buy the relationship for whatever reason, whatever voice they were trying to fulfill. And when it wasn't sincere, it's almost like they feel like they've been used, you know. Not by me necessarily, but I noticed that character trait where it was like they're always buying and always doing. Yes, they had a good heart, but it was something a little deeper on that end. And so when the person did not respond or continue to respond the way that they wanted, then they felt betrayed. They felt like they had been used, and it totally destroyed the relationship. And so I'm very careful in that in my relationships. Like, first of all, I'm a giver. So I really don't do well with people giving to me.
Right.
You know, it's a lot harder for me to receive than it is for me to give. But I think that that's something you have to definitely be careful with as well. And the other thing I was going to say too is communication. So when you find those people in those relationships, you have to have communication. And this is going back to what Angela said when you made the comment about some people, they kind of back off because they don't want to make you feel worse. But I feel like one true attribute of a healthy friendship is knowing that communication relationship, and knowing, okay, if you're feeling like that and we're truly friends, then you should know me well enough to know when stepping up is necessary and when backing off isn't. And if you're not sure, then being able to have that conversation with me to find out, you know, how we should proceed.
I feel like that can only be done though, because I disagree with, this is for me.
Mm-hmm.
I disagree with not speaking to my friends on a regular basis. I can't do that. I cannot go days and weeks and months because I can't do it. Because how are we going to build? How are we going to sew into each other? That once a month or every other month or every year crap, I can't do it. And like I said, I am married with 3 kids, and I am fine because you make time for what you truly want to make time for. Mm-hmm. As I said before, I love friendships. I cherish them. They are dear to me. So if that means that I need to run to the store, but in the midst of me running to the store, I'm calling my friend like, hey girl, hey, that's what I'm going to do. If that means that I have a break on my job or I'm in my office and it's a light day, I'm calling, hey, what's going on? Because I need to be able to connect and talk. So going back what you said, you're going to know how to be there for your friends if y'all have that, if y'all are sewing into each other. If y'all talking once a month or whenever, how are you going to know? How? And so for me, I keep that inner circle that I spoke of earlier. I keep that inner circle tight. It's been a lot challenging for me now with my last 2 babies, and now with the pandemic, everything has changed because I went from going to work every day and dealing with staff to now staying home every day with 3 boys. So I have the breaks that I had before to copy, but I still have to, now I'm, you know, hanging out, eating lunch. Hey, how you doing? You know, I'm talking that way, but it's a commitment. You have to be committed to whatever relationship you have.
Yeah. So as you all can see, you can really tell who the talkers are in this group. Because the talkers, do you, Dolores and Andrea, do y'all have anything you want to chime in? You don't have to, but I know they real. Dolores, you're on mute. They so sweet, and we gotta breathe so they can get in.
No, I pretty much have agreed with everything everyone has said, and it's special relationship, and like Malika said, your closest friend, you don't go through a long period of time without communicating. Although whenever you communicate, it's just like it was yesterday. There's no time lost. So those people, you can sometimes have high maintenance friends and low maintenance friends, to where you do have friends that's needy, pulling on you. But at the same time, they're there for a season. And so that's one thing you have to really understand is why they're there and why they're doing what they're doing.
Right. Amanda in the chat just said that she said, or maybe the friend was going through something and needed kind of what we said, you there for them at that time. Friendship is a 2-way street. So she's just confirming what you just said and what others have said.
Mm-hmm. I also say managing expectations too. You know, Juan, you mentioned communication earlier, but sometimes you expect something from someone that they have no clue about. So forgiving
or not capable.
Pardon?
Or
Right.
What am I capable of giving?
Right. So as I have grown, you know, I am actively trying to manage my own expectations. You know, I've gone through seasons where, you know, I expected for someone to reach out to me when in all actuality, I probably should have articulated that expectation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's good. So let me ask you this then. What do you think are traits? Because a lot of people are probably watching this. Some might have the question on how do, I really truly navigate friendships? Because I will say that so many people and women truly have problems and struggle with maintaining healthy female relationships. So what would you say were some of the traits to look for in a healthy relationship? And then I want to talk about how to identify a toxic relationship as well. So let's talk about healthy first.
Affirming, edifying, sisterly, that I'm just checking in on you and you're just checking in on me. Matter of fact, I just received a text message, like since we've been on this Zoom call, from my childhood best friend. And we don't talk every day. Life is busy, but I sent her a card because I know I don't have 2 hours to catch up, right? But I love you. Yeah. So although I may not be able to give her, 2 hours a day, I can let her know that there's 2 minutes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's good. And that's a great strategy to use when you don't have that time, just to let people know. And I tend to do that with my friends, not as much as I should. And I have friends do it with me, but just sending a card, saying, hey, just thinking about you. I appreciate your friendship. I value you, especially during times that that they're going through something,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, a phone call helps. Yes, a text message helps. But when you get that card, it means something different. At least it does to me.
I would add honesty as well, in addition to what Dewan and Monique said, because you want to be able to communicate and talk with your friend and be honest, especially if it's a close person, and be able to reveal whatever you may be struggling with and what you may be dealing with, and not worry about that getting out. But I know for me, I have just a couple close friends. One that I may talk to more often than others, and one that I may talk to just a few times a year. And we're not as close as we used to be because, life changes, life happens. And there was a time in our lives where we were best friends and we were talking every day. We would see each other every day. But they moved away and, everything kind of changed. But at the same time, when we do talk, we may talk for an hour and catch up, and it's like we just talked last week. Mm-hmm. So those are the relationships that are genuine, and they're long-term, like a 20+ year relationship. But our lives are different. We just don't talk every day. It doesn't mean that we love each other less. So I can text her to say, I'm thinking about you, and vice versa. Or she can call me like, oh, I haven't talked to her in a while, and we'll talk for a long time. But just still knowing that those relationships, even though we don't talk every day or on a regular basis, doesn't negate that, I still love you and we're still friends.
Something that happens amongst me and my friends, I have a clique of friends that we've been friends for 20+ years. And we have like this group chat that goes, and every now and then the group chat get kind of quiet. And what we realized just recently here, it's kind of crazy. We just realized recently that some of us are not talking in the group chat. We're not really sharing what we're really going through. But we're silently suffering through something. So silently trying to deal with something, silently trying to process something. And we haven't really been there in the true spirit of friendship because you may pop in the chat and the chat's something funny going on, and you may have something really heavy that's on your heart that you don't want to disturb the mood of the chat. So we actually created like a poll like a month ago, like, if anybody is silently going through something, you need somebody to reach out, you need a one-on-one, you need a call, use this word. It's almost like, pineapples, something funny like that. But I think it's got a chicken noodle soup or something like that. But that was like our way of, that was the unspoken prayer request, almost like, yo, somebody reach out to me. I really need a friend right now. And I may not want to discuss it here in this public forum, but I need somebody. And I thought that was, it was kind of eye-opening to see how many people, like when we actually kind of broke it down and got together for like our little girls trip, that so many different, we were all going through something different, and nobody really talked about it because we didn't really want to kind of lay it bare in that format. So I think having a place where you can be a key of a good friendship, having a place where you can be almost just naked, you can be just you. You can, somebody look at you and take you for everything that you are, tell you about everything that you are. There's that honesty component I think every friend needs. And
I agree.
Space, because that safe space is important, especially as we get older and life tends to deal us blows that are bigger than they did when we were 17.
Right. That's good. Thank you for that. And very, go ahead.
To piggyback, I think technology has hindered, friendships and relationships being able to grow because we're so attached to, oh, I sent a text message or I did something. We're not, as apt to pick up the phone and make a call. I reached out to them. So I think technology, while it has its benefits, it has hindered us in some way in our ability to grow in our relationships. So
I agree.
And I definitely agree with that, but I also think in these times of COVID and things, that it's actually helping to improve a lot of relationships, because actually all of us getting together and talking like this on a regular basis has not happened in a very, very long time. We talk individually, we have the side off conversations, but us getting on our Zooms the way we have been lately, and even with family and other friendships, I think it's helping. So I think with COVID is helping us to take on a turn on how technology, and you have to be responsible. You have to control technology. We can't allow technology to control us. And so I want to go to chat really fast because we have some people talking in here. Okay, so I saw a couple things I just want to address. Okay, so Stephanie said, as you get older, your friend circle changes. Everyone gets busy, menopausal, and you don't have time for drama. That is so true. You have to be able to know, once again, the season of life that you're in. And this is the other thing, and this goes with relationships with women or with men as well. But you have to be able to grow with people. And if you're not growing with people, you're growing apart. And so the same things I needed from my friends 15 years ago are totally different than what I need from my friends now. And so if you're still trying to provide me with the needs and be what I needed 15 years ago, then you don't know me very well. Right. Because my needs have now changed. And so if you're just now giving me what I need then now, I'm already at a different place. And so eventually those relationships, you will grow apart. I have a question in here. They say, my question, does it mean that I am not your friend? This is a very good question. If I do not share with you something that my husband and I have shared, and he asks that I not share it, does it make me less of a friend if I don't tell you? And I'm going to put a little spin on that question because I think that we will all probably say the same thing to that question. But as a friend, if me and you are friends, really good friends, and I don't share something with you, do you feel that that means that I have to share everything with you? So say I'm going to get a house and I don't tell you, or I get a car and I don't tell you I'm getting a car, or if I get a new job and I don't tell you right away, does that make me a bad friend?
I think it depends on the friendship. First of all, when it pertains to husband and wife, if there's something that my husband had asked me not to share, I don't care who you are in my life, I'm not sharing it. Friend, mama, daddy, whoever, that's my husband. So I'm not doing that. Furthermore, I would be concerned if my friend wanted to know those details. Like, I don't want to know that much about you and your husband. Why do you want to know that much about me and my husband? So yeah, no, that doesn't make you any less of a friend. However, going back to my circle of friends, if I'm talking to you every other day and I buy a house and 2 months later, I'm like, oh yeah, me and Saul and the kids, we moved. It would kind of be like, I talk to you every other day and you didn't even tell me you bought a home. Like, that's pretty significant. You know what I'm saying? Personally, I would feel a certain type of way. Not angry or upset, but okay, well, we share everything else. Why didn't you tell me about this huge accomplishment that has happened, with you or your family? So, I mean, I can't even say that I wouldn't kind of look at it sideways if I literally talk to you extremely often.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Hold on. We have a comment. I count you. Oh, she said, I count you. This is Chris. I count you the one as a true friend. I agree. You're my friend too, true friend. But we don't always talk. It might be rare, but it's possible to have true friends that you don't connect with on a regular basis. And Jamaica said, yeah, you a trash friend. You a trash friend for what? For what? Define that, Jamaica. What are you referring to? What makes you a trash friend? Okay. Anybody else want to chime in on that? That last question that we were talking about how much is too much and how much is not enough when sharing with your friends. I personally feel like some stuff just none of your business. I'm friend or not.
Yeah. Yeah.
What's funny is that I was looking at all of us on camera as you read that question, and Dewan and I, Anya and I kind of turned our heads to the left at the same time when she was talking about the husband, because ultimately it's a level of intimacy I think that friend wants to have with her girlfriend, but you can't. I do not believe that you can have the same level of intimacy with your girlfriend that you have with your husband who you sleep
Absolutely
with
not.
every night. You know that and that's just not that's unfair to have that same expectation. But she obviously needs some form of affirmation that we are are close and bonded. So I think that warrants a conversation. I have a single friend who shared with me that she was struggling with her married friends who felt as if they could not talk to her about their relationship, right? She said, I'm spiritual, I'll pray with you, I can walk with you through this. And that single friend has been beneficial in my marriage because she can see things from a different perspective. Mm-hmm. So, but we had that conversation, mm-hmm. And she understands that I roll with my husband different than I roll with my girlfriends, but I can walk with you on this journey.
All right. That's good. Michael broke down what he was saying. He said, if I share with you, and we are talking about the mind of a woman. Remember when you was doing the mind of a man, y'all want to let me chime in? So but Jamaica said, if I share with you in your trauma, I should be invited into your celebration. I definitely agree with that to some level. And I guess it just depends on what we're talking about, because I do feel like some things just, it isn't your business, or I'm not ready to divulge that information. It doesn't mean that we're not friends, doesn't mean I don't trust you. But some things I don't want you knowing every aspect of my life. What if I'm trying to get a car and I'm not sure if I'm going to get financed? And now I done told you I'm getting a house or a car and it don't go through. Now I'm embarrassed. Like, I mean, I just feel like it just depends on the situation. It depends on that relationship. And I feel like you have a choice. If you don't tell me, like Malika said, I'm not going to get mad. I might feel some type of way depending on what it is. But I guess it just depends. It says, I agree. My true friends, we pick up and never miss a beat, and nobody is not talking about the other not calling. These are friends that have been in my life for over 40 plus years. Someone else said, Stephanie said, sometimes when you share too much information with your friend, they can't handle the information. Your business gets told to other friends that were not in your circle. Now your business is spread around regarding information in your household. That brings me to a point. So for you all that are married, for the ones that aren't, or just in relationships, I'm sure you all have had to deal with this. How much is too much to talk to your friend about when it comes to your man?
Listen, you gotta know what to tell and what not to tell, okay? Because some friends, like this if I break up with you and I tell my mama what you did, then we broke up. Like, it's over with. Like, I can't never go back down that road. I can't rewind those wheels. And you have some friends that are like that. Like, listen, don't tell me about it till it's over. Like, if it's over, right, that's fine. You're gonna take him back. Mm-hmm. I don't want to hear about it. And I can kind of be one of them friends, like, okay, cool. Is this really over? But I think you kind of know some stuff, you can't necessarily divulge. And some stuff don't need to be divulged anyhow, especially if it's your husband. But right. Some business is his business and they just need to be his business, and he trusted it to you, and that's the far as it goes. But I think especially when you're dealing kind of with those ups and downs, some of that stuff you got to keep to yourself, because everybody don't want to hear it. And then at some point when it go too far, it's certain people in your life and your friendship, they're gonna be like, listen, if you go backward from here, I'm gonna fight you. Like we gonna have an issue. Me and you gonna have an issue for what you allowing yourself to go through. So I think it all kind of depends on what exactly that is. Like for me, I know if I tell it to my mama, it's done. It's I can't go back because I ain't never gonna hear the end of that one. So my mama ain't a friend per se. You know, she's grown into a friend, but I have friends on that level that I know I can't take it back. So once I'm through that rock, I gotta really be ready to give up that whole situation. And that even deals with people who I'm not being friends with anymore. Like if you wrong me, my mom is like that real good third grade best friend. If I don't like you, she don't like you. She ain't never gonna like you. So yeah, if I'm letting you go as a friend, I can't tell Bernita because it's over with.
Malika and I actually just had this conversation similar. It wasn't necessarily about just friendships per se. We were talking about lots of different things, but we were talking about how sometimes you don't want to share things with people, not necessarily because you don't want to share, you're hiding anything, but sometimes you need to hear from the Lord. And if I am sharing too much, then my thoughts are clouded and I'm taking your opinion, I'm taking your opinion. If I feel like I'm hearing the word of God and then I start having doubts and it just gets too convoluted. And so sometimes I don't care. You don't need to tell your husband, anybody. Sometimes you just got to talk to God and let God guide you.
Yeah. And I think too, like when you have these friendships, you know, you call your girlfriends and you guys talk and you share and, you know, you have your friends and y'all love each other, y'all care about each other. So you do have all these different opinions. If I call my best friend and say, hey girl, I'm going through this, I'm struggling with this, and she's going to, you know, try her best to try to help me and give me a solution. Well, now it's her words that I hear, or it's my mama's words that I hear. It's my grandmother's words that I hear. But just recently, and I've had to do this, let me just shut everything down. I need to talk to God because life is a lot right now. So let me just, you know, kind of figure out what God wants me to do. Another thing too, though, I think that in talking to your friends about going back to what we were talking about earlier with things regarding, you know, your marriage. I know before I got married, I was always told, talk to other married women. And I tried that for a little while, but that didn't really work for me because I found myself talking to women and they're telling me certain things. And I'm thinking to my mind, oh, I would never stay in my marriage if I had to do what you had to do. What I realized is for me, it was good for me to talk to people who were a fan of my marriage, not just a fan of Malika, but a fan of my marriage, a fan of my husband, people who want to see us work and people who want to see us excel. So my conversations honestly were with single women because they were my friends and they're like, you know what?
She froze again. Anybody else want to jump in until she comes back?
What she said.
What was that, Anya?
What she said.
One thing I do want to say too, it was real good. I mean, it was juicy. It was good. Now I can't even remember. So in the chat, Stephanie said they do not need to know anything about your relationship that you and your partner are going through. You are to work through together. Outside information is not helpful. And I definitely can agree with that. Oh, I had something. It was so good, y'all. It was deep. I was about to look like a philosopher on here.
You about to be like,
girl. I know what it is. I remember. What you say, Angela?
No, go ahead. I don't want you to forget. Now go.
Yeah, you know I will. So what I was going to say is kind of going back to what we were talking about. I truly believe that God gives you who you need at that time in your life. And it might be a friend from childhood who you have had kind of you've been friends, but you haven't really had the same relationship, of course, that you had when you were a child, but that he might bring that relationship back stronger in your life at the time that you need them the most. And I just think about Anya. When Anya and I first met, we actually met at church in Fort Wayne. After my parents moved back, I joined another church, and that's how we met. And I remember I met Anya. She was the sweetest person, but I was like, this girl is too churchy. She is too churchy. I did. I thought she was so churchy. I was like, Jesus, my best friend. But guess what? When I got to my lowest point in my life where I needed that church girl. Do you hear me? And Anya would speak word to me and pray with me and the different things we discussed. And when we talked, it wasn't about That's one thing Anya does not do. She don't talk about nobody. So one thing you don't have to worry about, at least she didn't then. I don't know what she's doing now. She way up there in Charlotte. But you say something about Anya, she just like, no, she not gonna say nothing. So anyway, God gave me what I needed through Anya at that time in my life. And so what I thought was just like her being just super churchy was actually what I truly needed. And during that time, I grew up knowing Jesus. I grew up knowing God and having my own relationship, but I didn't know God the way I learned, the way I developed that relationship during that time. Like I found him. I had encountered God, but I had never experienced God until that time in my life. And so I thank you, Anya. I don't think I've ever even shared that with you, but I thank you just for being that for me at that time. And the other thing is, just like the other day, having those friends and having friendship, this is why it's so important to have these types of friendships. And then we're going to get off. We're over our time a little bit. But the other day, we were all just going on our daily lives, and we got a text from Monique, and she just said, "Hey, y'all, pray." We didn't have to say what's going on. Hey, are you okay? Hey, calling her on the phone in the middle of whatever was going on in her life at that time. She just said, pray. Everybody started praying. The text started going through. Everybody praying. And those are the kind of friends you need. I don't have to know what's going on with you. I don't have to have the details to pray for you.
Right.
And I think that so many times that is the struggle. And that goes back to how much information am I required to share with you in order to be considered a good friend? So that just happened this week. And so I just really thought about that at that time. But to me, that's a sign of a true friendship. Anybody want to give some closing words? Well, all y'all gonna have to give closing words. But anybody want to jump in just on anything that we discussed tonight? We talked about having a healthy relationship, and I did ask about how to identify a toxic relationship, but I think that we've kind of intertwined a lot of those same things, just throughout the conversation. We didn't necessarily do a list form, but I think that people are able to pull those nuggets out of there. And if not, make sure you say something in the chat, and then we can come back and address that after this is over. But does anybody have anything you would like to chime in on anything we've talked about tonight?
I love the conversation. I always like the conversation of sisterhood and friendship and relationships. I think they are so important. I think they are so needed. I do not understand when people say, "Oh, I'm a loner." Why would you ever want to do that? Why would you ever want to go through life just by yourself just because you want to be a loner? I don't understand that mindset or mentality. I think this is a good conversation. I would love to continue the conversation on any level. Mm-hmm. Thank you guys for having me.
For joining us. She's a Delta for a day.
Oh God.
Look at it, that red on your shirt. I think she's where's the red?
This is hot pink, honey.
Oh, okay. Well, it looks red.
You call them stepsisters. That's the term of endearment. It's a stepsister.
Stepsisters.
Well, I want to thank you all for coming on here. Thank you all in the chat for all of you who have joined in the conversation. And you all know this is a conversation that could go on forever. You get women on here, we could talk about this all the time. And we did not even dip our big toe into this conversation. Wait, speaking of big toe, I got to tell y'all this right now. So, it's not my big toe, but y'all think I done broke my toe. I think I either broke my toe or bruised my toe really bad. And I was going to start my workout plan. This is so random, but I was going to start my workout plan today.
Any excuse.
I gained 10 pounds in the last month and a half. Yes, I have. And
come on, this is not the first time you broke a toe or something, right?
That's what I was about to say.
First of all, I never broke a toe. They broke my toes when I had surgery. I didn't do it. They broke them. So anyway,
I know it was something.
Yes, I call them my surgeries. So anyway, let me tell y'all how I did this, and it hurts really bad. So now I'm probably gonna gain another 5 pounds because I couldn't start my workout. But I was on my phone texting, and just literally with this big old OtterBox, it slipped out of my hand and just fell on my toe, like with the big OtterBox. And so I truly think my toe broken. And this is so random, but when I said dip my big toe, it reminded me of that.
Jesus.
So anyway, let's get back on track. So We didn't get to dip our big toe into the conversation the really way we really probably could have, but this is a conversation that can't be had all in one night. And as a matter of fact, I think we're gonna come on here. I went to a conference with Sarah Jakes this weekend, Women Evolve. Fire, okay, fire. My soul is renewed. Fire. And they did something, and she's done it a couple times, and I've been wanting to do it so bad, and I just hadn't had the opportunity. Not opportunity, I just haven't done it. But they did the pajama party again on Zoom. No, they did it on Zoom. Y'all, let's come back in our PJs. I'm gonna have to go get some, because y'all can't see me in my Batman shirt. That ain't for the club. But let's come back. Let's do a pajama night. And we're going to invite people on, and we're going to do the big Zoom where other people can join us and we can see everybody. And we're going to do that soon. So y'all start going to look for y'all satin attire, and we on Zoom. So you only need the top. You don't have to buy the pants to match.
Right.
Just get the top. Get your
right.
I wear my bonnet.
No.
You
Y'all know the
can
ball's not for that.
get what's that, Latoya? What's her name? Latoya. She used to be married to Lil Wayne. She has the bonnet line with the bedazzle. It's real cute.
Oh yeah.
Get one of those bonnets.
Oh, we getting pajama cute. We just having on pajamas, but we still gonna have our hair done. That's what you saying.
Well, I still might have on this hat if we still quarantining. Get my quarantine hat, baby.
Dawn, I would suggest that you possibly think about putting in the chat, asking the people who are viewing what types of things that they want to talk about that occur in relationships or friendships, kind of see what, things that, they want to talk about, and maybe, we can come up with some topics. Look, I just didn't add myself in the group.
Oh, no, you're good.
Come up with some things, and let's talk about what the people want to talk about.
Let's do that. So we will do that. And actually, please drop your questions or topics in the chat. But I'm also probably prior to that going to do like a survey, a Google form or something where people can submit different topics and questions for us to discuss. But we're going to do that really soon, and I will announce it. And it's just going to be one big party. We all going to be on Zoom looking at each other and talking and having a good time. And so y'all look out for that. We're going to make that happen real quick. So start getting on Amazon, ordering them old sexy satin get up.
You in the satin though.
We don't want to see those moo-moos.
I can't see.
I don't want to see no moo-moos.
I can't see sexy. I can't see sexy. That's for Corey.
You got a 2-year-old. We don't want to see all that anyway.
Oh, shame.
Look,
Don't
get
tell
it
us
together.
shame.
Hey,
No,
don't get
it's
it
over.
twisted. Us with these 2-year-olds, honey, we still popping. Don't get it twisted.
Clearly, we still popping.
Well, I don't have no 2-year-old, but I sure got a Batman shirt with the collar just like this and everything. I don't have nobody look cute for, so sometimes I do it for myself. And when I do that, I put on my Stop the Madness t-shirt with my hoop earrings.
You crazy.
So anyway, thank y'all. This has been a great conversation. We're gonna let the good old folks go tonight, but we'll have to do it again, and y'all be on the lookout because I will be sending out more information about it. So thanks again. You all have a good night, and let's
Good night, Sans. Love y'all.
Nice to meet you, ladies.
Lika. Bye, Sis. Bye,
Thank
Sis.
you.
Bye, sis. Like that, sis. Is that how you say it?
Bruh.
Oh, did I pronounce that right? Sis. Bye.
It's Bye.
Oh, sis.
Bye-bye.